It's another Wednesday, and I am so excited to be here with two of my oldest friends in all of New Mexico, right? We've got our wonderful partners, Miss Susan Velazquez from EpiphanyEO.
Hey, everybody.
Hello. And the lovely Miss Diana Webb from Wellness is Essential with Diana.
Hi, happy Wednesday.
Hey, you know, this is like a reunion of our, what was the topic? What did we call it? Intimacy and
Intimacy.
So if you haven't caught that podcast, you can get to know us a lot better by going over and checking that out on the Living with Intention podcast. Sorry, I had like a brain thing, where we spent a good hour talking about the topics of how to support connection and intimacy for your essential oils as well as other things. So it was a lot of fun. So we have some questions for you guys today. By the way, I'm Kari with RavensNestEssentials, and we are going to dig in on a few of these. I love some of the ones that we got today because they're sort of very common things. The first one is regarding a spider bite, right? Which is a very common thing this time of year, especially. And as we're coming around into the fall, when all the little guys decide to move into our houses and such, or you're out camping, whatever it might be, spider bites can show up. And the thing about spider bites is they kind of linger, right? A little more than, say, you know, a mosquito bite, right? Or even a bee sting. Spider bites can linger a bit. They can hurt. They almost seem to ebb and flow in and out of being irritating. So what are you guys using over there? What would you recommend to support a spider bite? Yeah, Diana.
Oh, so I have from the Essential Life, quick reference here is some lavender, some Roman chamomile, blue tansy, and basil, or purify.
Yeah. So you're saying those first, the Roman chamomile, lavender, blue tansy, and what was the first one again? I'm sorry.
And basil.
And basil in a rollerball or the purify.
Yes, or the purify. Yeah. And I would do the other ones, as you said, for the lingering, because the reapplying the lavender and the Roman chamomile and the blue tansy is very soothing and calming, and then the basil is that herbal, like, kind of clean out of it.
Yeah, basil is really good for all types of stings, which I've just recently learned that in like the last year. Like, I didn't realize that about basil, but it's really, really good for bee stings too. Ant bites, which can hurt like heck if you've ever had one of those, you know. Really, really helpful. I think tea tree oil is also a good one to throw in there, or in that most people have it commonly, like in their home, like lavender and tea tree. You're kind of, you know, going to have those on hand. If you have a broader toolbox, then for sure, especially that blue tansy and basil and Roman chamomile. That sounds like a good little rollerball to have on hand for any bite, right? Just your bite.
Right.
Your bite rollerball. Susan, did you have anything else on that, or did she pretty much?
That is pretty much it. I actually have a mix that I used for a spider bite a couple of years ago. And that's what it was: lavender, purify, and peppermint. 2 drops each, just, you know, in your hand, just mixed in your hand, and, you know, rubbed on as often as you need it. They can be so painful, and like you said, you know, of such long lasting duration before they heal.
Absolutely. Yeah, and depending on the type of spider, you know, if it's still seems to be irritated and open or something, correct X, but also go see someone, because some spider bites can be really problematic, and you don't want to linger. Or if you have any other sort of allergic reaction type symptoms, go see someone right away. Go to urgent care
or it turns a color.
Yeah.
I was gonna say on that note, when we did our first aid class not too long ago, we talked about having something to write with in your first aid kit. And that's one of those things where if you have a bite, especially if you know it's a spider, or if you're just not sure what it was, but it's like swelling quickly, that's one of those situations where a ballpoint pen in your kit to outline the color and amount of swelling so that it, if you need to take somebody in for professional help, they can see, well, it was like this an hour ago, and now, the perimeters of that swelling have grown, can sometimes be helpful. So.
Yeah, because sometimes you're trying to describe it and it's such an easy way to do it, like having a good pen,
Yeah.
a ballpoint or felt tip or something that's easy to kind of write on skin or write on bandages, whatever it is. But you're right. So you're just going to kind of outline
perimeter, just around the perimeter of it. Yep.
Yeah. And then, kind of you yourself note the time, and then,
and of course, we all have pictures now. So, I mean, we all have, we travel with cameras everywhere. So you can use your phone, take the picture. That's great. But that marking can kind of help delineate, well, it was like this half an hour ago, and now it looks like that,
Yeah, well, and you can see it actually on there, right? Like, because if here's the line and then now it's way out here, just for scale, it helps a lot. And sometimes, you know how it is. Sometimes pictures just, you can't capture it really. And, but I would do both. You're right. Take a picture too. I forgot about that. We do typically have phones with us to be able to do that. So lots of great things. And I feel like because spider bites are among as far as like, little critter bites, all of these answers, these answers will work for all types of different bites and stings. So yeah, if you could go ahead and make that rollerball blend, or have a rollerball with some Purify. Purify is a wonderful blend in itself. I don't know how, I don't know what the particular oil in it, and I just did a thing on it this morning too, so you would think I would, that does this, but it's amazing at taking the itch and the sting away right away. And so, what was that?
It's citronella?
It might be. I'd have to look through all of the ingredients again. Does it have cilantro, or am I thinking of, I might be thinking of Terra Shield, but it's just something in there that really, maybe it's just the way it blends together. And I'm sorry to be so non-scientific on this, but it's a go-to for us as soon as somebody gets a bug bite that won't just kind of disappear with a little lavender. It's like, okay, grab
it has lemon, Siberian fir, citronella, lime, melaleuca or tea tree, and cilantro. You're right, cilantro.
Okay. Yeah, it's just wild how quickly. I really like it. I'm the type of person who gets a mosquito bite, and if I itch at it, it will just continue to grow and grow and grow. And so I need to really just not itch. And if I do that, like with everyone else, it goes away. So, but that, boy, just a little bit of that Purify and you're like good to go. If you're camping or you're doing something outdoors, and you know how that is, you're bit up and you just can't even sleep because you're itchy, a little bit of that and you go right to sleep, which is lovely, especially for little guys who don't have, that impulse control to not keep scratching and scratching. It's an easy one to use. So, and it's really gentle, super gentle on your skin. But so all bug bites taken care of in the spider bite conversation. Okay, so our next question is about using your free points. So in other words, your doTERRA dollars. So a lot of people, this is July 2021, a lot of people this month who are new are getting awesome 50 points to use to shop however they would like, right? And doTERRA charges, if you go in and you place an order using only your points. So in other words, you're spending $0, meaning like, US dollars, not doTERRA dollars. There is a $3 charge. It is still $3, right? I believe so. They do, yes. And they're asking, well, why do they charge us to use our points? Then is there a charge? I think there is a charge even if you do. Is there a charge even if you do? No. Somebody tell me that. Is there a charge even if you are buying other stuff?
Yes.
There is.
Okay. I always do mine on an LRP order, even if I'm getting points. And then, of course, you have to add something that's a regular item. You can't do just
right.
If it's on an LRP, it can't be just your what you're getting with your points. So
yeah,
we've done that just last month. It's still $3, and yes, you have to order something else.
Yeah, if you're ordering it on LRP, you have to do something else.
Right.
But if you do a one-time,
Right. Even if you just order enough just to have something in that cart to make it qualify for an LRP, you're getting the shipping points back,
Yeah,
which certainly defrays the $3, right?
totally. So I think that any answer we give here is going to be just our own sort of, guessing. Okay.
I think it's like shipping and handling. I mean, not shipping, but handling.
It is. And that has always been my understanding, because let's be real, unless you're using, 8 points every month, which by the way, don't do that. When I use my points, I'm using often, more than 50, often more than 100 at a time. Okay. And there are people who are, packing all this stuff up, getting all this stuff situated. I think that it is two things. I think it is the handling aspect, right? But I also think it is a little bit of a deterrent to keep people from just constantly like adding just one thing every month that's kind of causing, Susan's laughing at me, but don't you think?
I'm laughing at you because it doesn't work very well in my case.
Okay,
I use my points all the time, not every single month. And I have a big family, so we go through a lot of stuff. But I'm constantly cashing in points just because they're there. Like, why not use them, right?
But you don't cash in like 8, do you?
No, I'm usually cashing in quite a bit more than that.
Right. Well, that's great because you're also getting you're at 30%.
I buy a lot of doTERRA. I'm at 30%. So whatever I order, I'm getting 30% back in points. So yeah, that may be, my skincare thing that I add that month that is
right.
a treat, or it may be we need 6 more bottles of, mouthwash, or, whatever it happens to be. So yes, that $3 is very small in comparison to what I'm getting, but I totally agree with you. It defrays the cost of somebody in the warehouse still has to go and fetch your order and box it nicely and get it on its way. And so it's $3. And if you only want to pay that one time a year, you can cash in your points once a year, right? They last for a year when you earn them. Or you can be like me and just get a surprise all the time.
Yeah. Well, and
use them almost every month.
It's $3 per order, not per item, so just in case anybody's kind of confused on that. So do as many as you can, right? And like you said, if you're getting a hunk of a skincare collection box, or in my case, when I trade mine in, I'm often getting 7, 8 different items, all together. And that's a lot. It's also adding a lot to my box, which makes my box a lot bigger, and my shipping cost is still the same, right? My $3.99 or whatever it is, And
you're probably getting them, those points, you're getting that shipping cost back in points. So like totally. that even is, kind of, comes
There's
out
just got to be look, it's altogether possible to have them take away the $3 fee, but we will lose somewhere. So I like the fee. I don't find it to be outrageous. I think it makes sense. I feel like the amount that I'm getting for free far outweighs that $3 fee. Especially when you include in there that, my shipping cost isn't going up at all. Nothing's going up because I'm, paying for $8 and getting 120 for free. I'm okay with the $3, but it is a good question.
It's an excellent question. And I think it's good for people to kind of work that, kind of say it out loud and work that out in their minds that, oh yeah, right. Like that kind of makes sense, right? Because I understand it. I felt the same way at first. You're like, wait a second, like this was the thing. These were the freebies, right? You're charging me for the freebies, like then they're not free, right? But when you kind of work that through, as we just talked about, I think you're like, oh yeah, right. I mean, it's $3.
It makes sense. Yeah. So you do have the option to be really smart on it. You have the option to, do like Susan and use some every month and have that $3. She's laughing, but it's true. You can, or you can save them up and only spend, maybe do 3 orders that included a year. I mean, if it bothers you, consolidate your points into one order. And that way it's percentage wise, it's a very small amount. So know that. And I honestly, and maybe, this is one of those things like people say, like those mindless fees, right? I don't even think about it anymore. It's not, I did question it first. I was like, hey, what's up with that? But it just totally makes sense. When you see how much stuff, when you open your box, you've got all this free stuff. I promise you, you're not looking at it and going, man, they really got me with that $3. It's just never going to happen that way. Right. So those are the only reasons I can think of. Administrative costs, if you will, or, handling. And I do kind of think of it a little bit as a deterrent to not just constantly be nickel and diming out your points, but apparently that doesn't work for everybody. I love that. So
it's exciting to get a second order. That's like my, what can I go back and order at the end of the month that I didn't get at the beginning, because my points have come in.
Yeah, because the points come in around the 15th of the month,
Right.
depending on where the weekend falls and stuff, but they usually come in right around the 15th of the month. So it is like that. Like we were just talking about yesterday with the Cura kit or Cura collection. If you're at 30%, you're getting like 60 points back the next month around the 15th. And let's be real, 60 points, you're going to be able to go in there and get some serious goodies.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't blame you. It is exciting. It's really cool. All right. So let me see here. What I'm getting a little feed. Okay, there it goes. Let me see. I'm going to find our next question here. Okay, best oils for constipation. So this is a really common question, guys. I feel like we get this one pretty often because let's be real, it's a pretty common problem that a lot of people have. My favorite tool, I have two that I'll throw out there, and I'm sure, Diana and Susan can help me out with this. Definitely DigesTen, DigesTen, the oil rubbed on the abdomen, I have found to be very, very helpful. If you don't know, it helps with constipation as well as diarrhea or gas, bloating, indigestion, all of those things, because what it's doing is not trying to overcompensate one side by pushing the other. In other words, like you're not gonna, help me describe this here, but like, if you have diarrhea, it's not gonna try to dehydrate you or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, dry you out, in order to fix that. If you have constipation, it's not going to try to like overly fluid you or really kind of
give you
cause a lot of issues.
Right.
So, what it does do though is help balance out your system so that it will work on its own to sort of get back into its place of like homeostasis, right? It wants to be balanced. It wants to be functioning at its best. And it truly does that. I have used it for all of these things, and it has worked for all of these things. And not only that, but it works relatively quickly on all of them. Like the results are not something that, sometimes when we use natural solutions, we have to be a little bit more patient, right? Or we have to apply several times or over the course of a day. And maybe, constipation is probably the one that is most in that category where you might need a couple applications, but it's going to work. It's really fantastic. The other one that I really like is the Zendocrine Complex, because that one is a great tool. Now that's not an oil, that is a supplement. And it is a really great tool for helping the body to basically release toxins. And in that process, it kind of just helps keep things steady. I don't know how else to describe it, like regular as you take it, right? This works wonderful for people who have chronic issues with constipation or just slow moving colon, as they say, or whatever. It also works really well for people who can't be straining, if you will, it's a great tool for seniors, for a lot of people. So that's kind of a regular regimen though. It's not sort of a put out a fire. That's something that is just a part of your regular supplemental health and balance. So Diana, what you got there?
Just showing the bottle so people understand. It's the white bottle,
I'm looking
and
on my
it's got a lot of botanical herbal stuff in there to help you. And it has actually worked for my family in the sense that somebody was feeling they really slowed down and you know, like not feeling like they were on their regular schedule that they were, you know, before. And so it's just like take 2 and drink a whole glass of water, you know, if you're still not, you know, if you're still feeling like you need more, then come back at like lunch hours or a few hours later and go ahead and take 2 more and make sure you're, you know, drinking water. And but definitely for our family, it works on that first dosage, that first 2 of the capsules, and then a couple of glasses of water, and you're
back.
But I looked this up because of like, I have like travel issues with it.
Right. That's common. Yeah.
And and everybody does that. It's like your body's like, okay, well, these are not places where anybody wants to do anything. So on the road, you know, so let's just keep everything not doing anything. So I found a couple of different things for that. One of which was a capsule, an oil capsule to go ahead and take, like lemon, wild orange, ginger, peppermint, all in like an oil capsule. And of course, follow with liquids and stuff so that it gets kind of deeper into your system, you know, as opposed to blood absorption, it's going into the digestive absorption area. And that was okay. I mean, I didn't find it to be super effective. So the other thing I found was I found just getting back to my regular routine of lemon and water was effective, because that's what I normally am like. And even like a little bit of Slim and Sassy too. But there's also a roller that you can make that's called the Miracle Poop Fairy. It has a little fairy.
Can you imagine of all the fairy jobs that are out there that are filled with enchantment and magic?
Flowers.
You get the poop fairy job. I mean, wow. Although, let's be real, we've all prayed to her once or twice, right? But, but like, how is that the job you're getting?
Poor thing. She seems happy about it.
Not really cute, you know.
Not really.
Susan's like, why do I hang out with these people?
The costume isn't great. The costume isn't great.
Costume is lacking.
Let's just say. But it's like make a 10 mil roller, right?
No, I'm writing this down.
And you're gonna go. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it'll help, especially with little kids and stuff, or older people who can't be drinking necessarily capsules of anything or whatever. So it's going to be the 14 drops of wild orange, 10 drops of coriander, 8 drops of lemon, 8 drops of Digest Zen, 4 drops of ginger, and then of course you're going to top it with the fractionated coconut oil, and you're going to make sure that you do not go over where the bottle turns for the
neck,
for the stopper to go in, right? You make sure the oil is underneath that so that when you put in the roller, it's not pushing on the oils. So, and messing up your oils. So and then just blend it gently by tipping it back and forth. That's what I do to blend on my rollers. And, you know, mark it so you know what it is, and keep it in your bathroom cabinet. And then, you know, you're of course going to go in the motion of the bowel, which is, you know, that clockwise motion, and just gently putting that on and then rubbing it in. and trying to kind of sweep at the end where the colon is, kind of sweep, give it a little sweep to kind of get it like woken up. And another thing that helps is your position, your sitting position. You have to elevate your feet a little bit, and that will usually help you to feel less constricted. So
Yeah.
not like you're reclining, but elevate so your knees are higher. Don't get me wrong. Don't get in a recliner. That's not what I'm talking about.
Well, they have like those little potty stools and such now, which I totally see as being effective, especially like, again, for like, you know, I have people in my life, seniors in my life who can't, you know, push basically, you know what I mean? They just not okay. And so those little like potty squatty thingies or whatever or anything to be able to like kind of lift the feet up a little bit, because our toilets are so high.
They're high.
It makes it just makes it an easier situation. So yeah, that's a good, I mean, it matters. It's something that's kind of, you know, we giggle and be like 4-year-old or 12-year-old boys, whatever you want to say, and girls, by the way. My 11-year-old daughter right now is in that zone, and it cracks me up. I'm like, how are we here again? But here we are, in the potty jokes and stuff. But it really is a miserable state to be in if you are having problems. And honestly, you know, it leads to higher toxic load. You know, not being able to get rid of your waste is not a good scene. So hydration. I'm a huge fan. I've had great luck with Digescent on the abdomen in my water. I will say that Zendocrine complex that we were talking about before, I'm someone who, I don't know if you remember, and I forget what it was called, but there used to be this like ladies version of a laxative that was supposed to be super, super gentle. I don't even remember what it was called, but I could not use that at all. Even one, and I was a wreck. Even a stool softener, a wreck. Like, they're far too harsh. The Zendocrine is not that way. This is super gentle. This is not a forcing the body to do anything situation. This is an aiding the body in its natural process situation. So if you have those concerns, because it's something that whenever I see anything out there that says that it's going to aid in constipation, I'm like, whoa, you know, I don't need to be home for 2 days dealing with that, you know. So this is not that way. It's just really nice and very gentle, very natural. Doesn't really change anything except for that you get to go to the bathroom, which is a good thing, right? So anything to add on that one, or have we covered? Oh, Susan does have something
more.
Oh, good.
I got more. Okay. So the first thing is Diana mentioned water intake. So that's really important, right? To keep your hydration where it should be, which, you know, especially in the summer, we're losing it in other ways. So that's important that we get it internally. The other thing is take your time when you go to the bathroom. And I think that's a big problem, like you said, Diana, the travel constipation, is that we're not in our normal. We can't just kind of go camp out in the bathroom, you know, sort of thing. I had a pathophysiology professor who used to say, we need to go to the bathroom with the Sears catalog. Just sit in there and peruse to your heart's content, but like give your body time to work, right? Because sometimes we think we're done and we're not really done. And that's especially common with kids who get really constipated. Need to let that bowel movement finish, right? It's just not quite done.
They're in too much of a hurry.
Exactly. Or they delay going, right? Which can also be a problem. You know, not responding to that urge because they don't want to miss anything, or they're in the middle of something fun, or, you know, whatever. All right, so those are two things. The other thing is we now have in our nutrition line a fiber supplement, and fiber can be very helpful. And again, not necessarily like, you know, I think it can be helpful even if you are actively in a state of constipation. And I would even say, try it when you have time to be home for a little bit, because for some people adding fiber can be the, oh boy, I got to make sure there's a bathroom, you know, nearby, and kind of that clean out. I have not had that experience with this fiber. I think it's really great and really gentle, and it can be a good help used consistently, so that, you know, as a dietary aid to help promote regularity. And the same with the Zendocrine complex. Like, don't just take it when you feel constipated. add it in with, you know, your LLV and see. It's really such a great product, and it's going to help support cleansing not only through the colon but also supporting the liver and kidneys in the detox job that they do. So it's the full package. Now, last but not least, if you are in that situation of I need something that's going to work like sooner and not, you know, have to kind of get it on board, the Modern Essentials has I love their simple solutions. So like for some things like headache or, you know, whatever, they'll offer like a real simple mix it up, like the spider bite thing, mix it up in your hand and, you know, ship it right away. So this is a drop each of rosemary, lemon, and peppermint. Mix that with a teaspoon of coconut oil. And, you know, I would like eyeball that, like, don't get real caught up in a teaspoon, right? Like,
yeah, just enough to
just dump some in your hand, right? Put those oils in there and then massage that over your abdomen. And like Diana said, follow, you know, that clockwise pattern that kind of mimics, you know, the flow of our intestines.
Oh, that's a great tip.
Yeah.
I love
For little
that.
kids, you know, when babies are colicky, you do the I love you, like you're spelling out I love you, and kind of do that, you know, the U upside down, kind of do that on your bellies, you know, that can be really helpful.
Yeah. Speaking of kids too, I mean, kids go through this a lot. We're all familiar with gas pain and constipation issues. If you are a parent, you've probably been there and lived through that nightmare. And you're just desperate to give them relief because it's painful for them at that age. And so the Tamer is a great little tummy support that can be used on them, but also the Digestin Touch, which is a diluted roller ball. And you can rub that on the tummy, on the abdomen, and just massage. Really, really helpful tool. I've even used it just recently. We have, our dogs are getting on in age, and one, I don't know what she does, but the girl always finds something to eat. She doesn't chew on like stuff around the house, but she will always find us something. But she was bloated and miserable. And I thought, oh, here we go again. You know, she's eaten something, and she probably had, but I just diluted. I put in my hand, like you said, Susan, a little bit of, I just used MCT oil, you know, because it's what I had right there to grab, and like 2 drops of Digestin, rubbed my hands together and rubbed it all over her tummy. And I mean, she was solid hard and miserable, like just laying there. And I thought, oh, we're gonna have to go to the vet. It's a whole deal. And this was, I want to say it was around 4th of July time, actually. So it's been a little bit. And I thought, you know, always it's on the holiday when the dog does something dumb, right? But rubbed a little bit on, kept an eye on her. She went outside, she came back in, she was softer, she was a little bit peppier. We did it again. It just helped her to release and especially whatever was blocking her up worked its way through, right? It's safe for animals. So it's a great thing for dogs, you know, check, all animals are different. So let me put that out there. There is peppermint involved there. So kitties aren't necessarily fans, but these are great tools. And it happens, it's like that book, Everybody Poops, or sometimes everybody doesn't poop. And you have to call in the fairy and call in the reinforcements. Man, oh man, with kids, I remember that just being so stressful. So having some tools like this, can you imagine? I get so like,
hey, it happens, right? I mean, and also Susan is so right. That fiber really does help us to be regularly using that. The fiber is going to help you just not run into that problem as often, because you're in a good habit that supports your health and supports you being regular. And I mean, that's just life, you know, we need to do that. We are a machine, a processing machine. We have to take in things and nutrients and try to, you know, extract the stuff that we need out of it and then get rid of the waste. That's the way we work. There's no other way to do it. And our cells do that and our body does that. So, you know, supporting that is super important. And the fiber is amazing. I have to say, it really is just, it's so good. And it tastes good, and it's not all bulky and disgusting, turning into this big old gel. in a cup. What is that? Oh,
That's
that you can't swallow.
Psyllium,
It doesn't do the big, you know,
psyllium husk
glob of goo.
situation. Yeah. And a great replacement for some of those daily tools that are out there in the over-the-counter market, that, you know, this is pure, it is non-toxic, it is easy, and it does taste delicious.
Tastes like apple.
Yeah, it mixes
Good.
well with everything too, if you're a smoothie drinker or a juicer. But honestly, I just put it in a cup of water and drink it down. Because, you know, I want to make sure I get it all, and then I'm off doing my other part of my day. So it's been a really great tool. And it's not just a comfort thing, it's good for your health. It's so good to have things moving through, you know. I mean, it's the healthiest way to be. And with our diets these days, and when we're traveling, like Diana said, it's that discomfort of, you know, our body's kind of going, I don't know that I really want to go to the bathroom here. But also when we travel, we don't eat our regular diet. We're eating a lot of different types of foods that just kind of mess us up, a lot of eating out, things of that nature. And so it can be challenging on our bodies, but we have a lot of tools, obviously, to help with this situation. So hopefully this has been a little bit helpful. And note, these are helpful not just for constipation, but for just balancing that whole digestive health all together. With our next question, I'm gonna kind of piggyback it in here, is about acid reflux, and how to help with that. And there's a lot of similar tools that come into play here. My favorite for immediate relief is the Digest Tabs, which is like a DigestZen tablet. It's a chewable. And so you get a really good almost coating, if you will, down the esophagus and down all the way to that stomach and the entry to the stomach, and then in your stomach itself. I just think that is the best relief. But you could do other things too, like just DigestZen itself. Some people shoot it in like a little shot glass with water. But keeping that stomach health and digestive health happening and moving is a great relief for acid reflux too, right? Keeping that healthy. Does anyone have anything to add on the acid reflux itself?
Yeah, we have, my husband had an issue with it because he has like a herniated stomach situation where it's up above the diaphragm. And I guess this is a fairly common thing, but they don't really physically do anything about it. So they just put you on those, things, like those drugs that are supposed to reduce acid, all this other stuff.
Right.
But, you know, of course, that doesn't help you to digest, because you need that stomach acid to digest. And then you're just kind of causing like a, you know, the same problem we were just discussing, you know, yet now you're like, your processing is being really slowed down, because now your stomach acid and the way that you digest foods is now being hindered, because it's like, you need to stop producing so much acid. Well, that's not really the problem. You know, the problem is that where it is in the body, right? And once you fill up that stomach, it pushes it, you know, up. It pushes it up the esophagus, and then you're just feeling that, right? So he used to have to sit up to sleep. He couldn't lay down. It was really hard to you know, relax, because he could just feel that burning. And yes, he does love the Digest Tabs. He loves those. He also loves the DigestZen oil. He takes it down, just directly down the throat, like our own Trixie does too, just like right down the gullet, you know, tilts his head back and puts it in there. And then he, so that it's like straight, you know, it's like you get into that, like, I can do this like in art, like, right, I'm gonna put the oil right in there, and you just get into it. So he does that. And then he will also topically rub it down the esophagus. And he also, because it would get him kind of like agitated, he would also just add a little bit of copaiba over the top of it, and also drink the copaiba, both, do the copa back, as Trixie says, and and also just rub it over, and that would get him to sleep. And he really has not had issues with it, now frequently, because he's changed his diet. We've changed what time we eat. We're not eating as late. We're not doing all of that stuff. And that just helps a ton. So,
yeah, it's so important. And chronic issues with this, obviously see your doctor, right? But they can lead to real problems. Like if you're just constantly dealing with acid reflux, it can be a real problem. It's not something you want to just live with or ignore. Helping to balance that out is going to be long-term really important. I have one of my kids, my youngest daughter, I've noticed in the recent, I think it's a puberty issue, but nonetheless, I don't know why I think that, but I guess because of when it started happening, it has aligned with her, kind of beginning that phase of life. But she will have in the night a lot, she'll say, oh, I had that, where, that burning, that acid reflux, she doesn't call it that. I'll not say what she calls it, but, but, where she's kind of like having this problem, and, it's happened. But now it seems like, I'm like, okay, now it's been like 5 or 6 times in the last 2 to 3 months. And that's way too often, I think, for a 11-year-old kid who's not eating spicy or doing, you know what I mean? When you're a kid, you should be like steel belly running out there doing whatever, right? To some extent. So with that, I'm definitely going to start her with maybe doing the DigestZen, the little pill, an hour or 2 before bed each night to see how that soothes her. Unfortunately, currently, I just noticed today that they are out of stock. So I will be getting some of them as soon as I can to get her rolling on that. In the meantime, we'll just make them little veggie caps because that's all they are, is a convenient way. And she's fine with taking pills. So, but yeah, you really want to watch that. If it's chronic, it can be damaging. So anything else on the acid situation? We're good. So wow, we just did a lot of digestion fun for everyone. I hope it was helpful. Okay, so let's see. Let me go open us up again.
Tamer's good too. Tamer is
wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Tamer. I think Tamer is so gentle, and honestly, it's nice to kind of break it up. Like it's nice to have the DigestZen rollerball and then the Tamer for other. It's like, I don't know. I think especially for younger people, it helps to keep it fresh. Okay, so our next question is really interesting, actually. It's about, let me find the wording here exactly. Best oils for detoxifying the body of cadmium. So this is going to be an in general sort of heavy metals situation. Do a little research, a little background learning on that as far as how our body accumulates heavy metals, the types that they are, and how our body can or cannot process them. Typically, you think of a process called chelation when it comes to trying to remove or support our body in removing heavy metals from the body. And that is really where different medicines, foods, things of that nature are used to sort of bind with the metal and carry it out of the body via like the urine, and our waste. Now, the first thing that most people think of when they think of essential oils and chelation, if you will, or heavy metal detox is going to be cilantro, because cilantro as a food is used in chelation as a natural tool. However, there's really no evidence that the oil itself has the binding capability that the food does, that the herb has. I kind of think of it like how we don't have proteins in our oils, kind of same thing here. There's no proteins in there. I don't know that it's the proteins that bind with, but there's nothing there to do that, that binding process. So I did a lot of looking into this earlier. And was surprised because I would say that I probably would have said cilantro as a number one tool, but it turns out what we really can do is help support the body in all of the other ways that it can naturally detox heavy metals, which of course is a very slow process. If you think that you have a heavy metal toxicity issue, you do need to go and see someone and work with a healthcare provider to start that journey. However, we can help you with oils to support you while you're going through that process, right? Some that I have here are rosemary, as it stimulates circulation, and getting that circulation moving and getting that moving through the body is going to help things kind of move. And that's how a lot of things are processed and pumped out and through the body. Grapefruit for supporting the lymphatic system and lymphatic drainage. We have juniper berry as a support for a lot of things, but specifically skin, which is one of the pathways in which you can detoxify a great deal, as we all know. We've talked about that a lot, but heavy metals as well can detoxify through the skin. Cypress for both lymphatic and venous decongesting basically. So keeping things moving right through your veins and your lymphatic system. Also, I found this interesting. It's helpful in breaking down, okay, I mean, let's buy it by the gallon over here, Kari, but helpful in breaking down and reducing cellulite, which is one of the number one areas where heavy metals are stored. So if you know, I must have an iron butt. I'm just kidding, but like, you know, storing all those heavy metals right in the body, but that, you know, that's where they store in fat cells very often. It's a common thing. Toxins do that. And so anything that's going to help break that down or help with that process is going to be helpful too. And then fennel for the digestive tract, helping to detoxify there, and lemon as the overall king of general organ detoxification. So those are the ones that I found. And then again, I'm going to throw it out there, guys, the Zendocrine oil and the Zendocrine complex, because this is the powerhouse of detoxifying our liver and kidneys, and also that complex for the release, right? So just a key thing, like there's, you know, not a lot out there talking about how the oils can be used to actually bind and remove. However, we do have powerful tools to help your body when you're going through a chelation process, which is something you do need to work with a professional on. So does anyone have any other ideas or thoughts on that? I mean, water. Anything else or any corrections? Am I wrong anywhere? Because I could be wrong because I am not a doctor, you know, but this was just the research that I found in looking, you know, at Healthline and around a bunch as far as just support. Detoxifying can be hard on your body, and heavy metal especially. And women are very prone to high buildup. And, you know, we've got all the right organs to store it and all the right places to store it, right? So you really want to be sure that you're, you know, mind your diet, pay attention to your seafoods, pay attention to your vegetables, pay attention to what you're drinking and eating, because this is some of the main ways that these things enter our bodies to begin with. But yeah, does anyone have anything to add there?
The only other things that I saw were black pepper.
Oh, okay.
And just to like, just as a, you know, that whole antioxidant type action in your digestive system. As you know, the black pepper is very helpful for kind of helping your body to you know, work through all that kind of stuff. So maybe that has to do with some helping it release it cellularly or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then you know, just like a roller that has those in it, and use that on the feet, you know, the cilantro that you mentioned, all the different herbal oils, and maybe, and then of course the Zendocrine complex has geranium in it. So if you don't have that, you can also use the cilantro and the geranium and a citrus, because what the Zendocrine has in it is tangerine. cilantro, geranium, but so, if you have those at home right now, before you get your oils, your soft gels, you can just apply those to the feet, and use that as kind of like just like a daily, helping your body to work through stuff, kind of detox. But you will see, I think you just really have to look at those symptoms as well, because a lot of us, what happens is it starts to affect your thinking in your brain and stuff, and you feel very foggy. You feel like you can't think, like it's really hard to, work with kind of like thinking problems that you're like figuring out something. So, and unfortunately, like sushi and tuna and stuff like that can, keep that, going up. So you have to be careful, like how often you have that, and not just, just like live on a diet that has, you just keep on adding that into your system. So I think just, careful with that. And then of course, just greens and herbs will help you to your body to kind of sweep through the system. So
for sure, keeping an eye on your diet is huge, and do a little looking into it, because there's a whole way in which heavy metals specifically are carried from, like, even from the soil to a plant to the first animal that eats it to that animal that we then eat. That, like, it's one of those things where it really does carry through. It's a really fascinating thing to look into. So just kind of look around if you have those concerns. We should all, as people living here in the States, be aware of it. Some people more than others. Some people have more of a sort of negative impact than others. Some people are better, their bodies just handle it differently. So yeah, really, really important things. So the main ones I think are what? Mercury, cadmium, lead. I think those are the ones that you're really kind of looking out for out there. Is that the main group? Susan's looking around. She's like, I'm finding something here in my book.
I'm looking. Well, I was trying to look up, and I can't remember the recipe, but we did at one point. First of all, our cleanse is just so great for supporting that whole detox process. If you really want to do the deep dive. But the other thing I was thinking of, along with using the Zendocrine products, was you can do a Zendocrine bath, like a detox bath, using Zendocrine oil and Epsom salts. And I'm looking in my notes to see where I wrote down how much of each. But that's a really nice way also to kind of support as your body's, trying to do its internal work to mobilize those things to kind of help give it a, an outlet for drawing out those toxins. So I will keep looking. It's here somewhere.
Oh, that's great.
I want to say it was like 20 drops of Zendocrine oil in a couple of cups of Epsom salts, and then we used like a quarter of a cup or so, in a
soak.
We'll look into that and see if we can add that in.
That's great.
Afterwards.
We might also, there might also be a few recipes and tips in Dr. Maritza Snyder's books.
Yes.
Essential oil solution and the menopause solution. So check those out too, to kind of read more about other people who have gone through that and what they've done. But definitely, like you said, work with a health professional, and make sure that you are not continuing the lifestyle that's leading you into that, if it's something that you can control.
Yeah. And, we say, you can find a naturopathic doctor, you can find whatever version of, professional, if you will, certified in one manner to work you through this process, because it can be challenging. And Susan is so right. Our cleanse itself is a fantastic tool. I really like doing it regularly, like at least 3 times a year. If I can do 4, it always ends up, every year I have the intention of doing 4, but then somehow I miss a season. So it ends up being 3. I really like doing one toward the end of the year because you know how the holidays and so forth, you know, kind of get you ready for the beginning of the new year. And then for sure, even around, you know, early summer, late spring always feels like a good time getting out of that winter zone of, I don't know, heavy eating and so forth, you know, it just feels good. And then again in the early fall. So that ends up being 3 times, but if you can do 4, even better. But it's a great tool to keep your body poised. Now, I'm not saying it's going to detox you from heavy metals, but it's going to have your body prepared and poised to be able to do its own processes that it needs to do to work through these things, right? So if you're filled with sludge, there's nothing moving. Everything's sticking. So, you know, it's not a good feeling. And you can, you know what I mean, how that feels, right? It's just like, ugh. And after you feel lighter. I mean, not even like that you're losing weight, but like you just feel like everything's kind of firing back on all cylinders, right? And things are moving. So really great. But Susan, yeah, if you find that recipe, we will post it in the notes section or the comments section or wherever I can put it in a section, because that sounds amazing. By the way, it just sounds like a nice bath. Zendocrine is delicious. It also tastes good too. Diana has a great soup recipe that we really enjoyed with that. But it's a great tool. It's a go-to tool for my household. That, and I also like the DDR Prime a lot. That's a big one that I'm a big fan of for keeping the cells healthy. So anyway, I think, did I hit all the questions? Did you guys see one that I forgot, or have we actually made it through today's?
Stretch marks.
Oh, stretch. You know what? Yes. Okay. Sorry. Next question is some sort of roller ball to be used to help to improve stretch marks and scarring in general. Okay. So this is both for, you know, maybe years later, or even in a preventative manner, maybe during, you know, growth spurts cause stretch. It's not just pregnancy that cause stretch marks, guys. Okay. Growth spurts, men have them, women have them. It's just a common part of your body growing faster than your skin. Okay. And so young teens have them. And then of course scarring as well. So Diana, I'm gonna just throw to you in the land of skincare over there and see what your thoughts are. I mean, we have little things that we use here at our home, but I really want to hear what you have to say.
Right. So off the top of my head, what I would turn to right away is yarrow palm as the base of your roller ball that you're going to make instead of fractionated coconut oil. Or if you don't want to use all yarrow palm, mix it with some fractionated coconut oil, or also you can use the body serum. You know, so those are the carriers that I would use for support right there. Then what I would add to that would be a little bit just of blue tansy and all the ingredients that go in Immortelle or Immortelle itself, right? So frankincense, lavender, rose, sandalwood, and myrrh. That's what I would do for stretch marks myself. Or if you wanted to like do a separate roller ball where you do the blue tansy and like the yarrow palm, and then you do the Immortelle afterwards and rub in, you can do that too, just for like a simple, you know, not getting all with pipettes and trying to transfer things here and there and getting flustered about that. But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of ideas for that that I looked up. And there's also like, you can make yourself like a serum type of thing, but you would have to go find some jojoba and rosehip oil and vitamin E oil, and then blend that. They're saying use that with neroli, lavender, myrrh, and lemon. So 2 tablespoons of the jojoba, 2 tablespoons of rosehip oil, 2 tablespoons of vitamin E oil. And this is, I think, in a 4 ounce or so. No, not a 4 ounce. It's got to be an 8 ounce with the tablespoon, that many tablespoons. And then 10 drops of the neroli, and 7 of lavender, 7 of myrrh, 5 of lemon. So yeah, so that's got to be like a 6 ounce, at least a 6 ounce container that you're going to use for that. And the neroli is something you can get with your 50 doTERRA dollars.
Yes.
Yep, and it's wonderful for skin. It's one of the ones we always talk about in the skincare continuing education class. So that's lovely. And some people are saying another blend is like a ton of oils. A ton of drops of oil in the 10 ml roller, which is 10 drops each of clary sage, ginger, lavender, lemon, and aroma touch. That's the Oil Life roller blend. So, I mean, just generally on those stretch marks, what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to be able to, soften, like use something soft and soothing on the skin. So if you want to make your own salve, that's possible. Or, if you just want to use a roller ball, that's quick, that's easy, but you're just wanting to make sure that that area is moisturized and that you're doing the massage with the stretch mark, just kind of like not in the direction of the stretch mark, but maybe like diagonal to it. Mm-hmm. And just kind of across it like that, but not like really hard, just very gently. Yeah, be gentle with it. And you might even get your stone, like your quartz roller, or your jade or amethyst roller, and go ahead and use that so that it's cooling and it makes you feel better, because sometimes they hurt. I know when I was pregnant with my son, my stretch marks were very deep and very difficult to deal with. They hurt a lot. So if you're especially dealing with that, be gentle with it. And they'll heal. They will heal. But, these are things that are going to bring some activity to that area. The essential oils are going to bring this activity to that area, which is your body saying, oh, you want me to bring the resources to repair this area? Okay, like it just helps to get your body moving, in that direction, because you're dealing with so many things all the time as a human being. And sometimes you just have to pay a little bit of attention to it, love it a little bit, and your body's like, okay, I'll help you. I'll do something about this too. So
this was great. This was a lot of recipes. So it's like there's something here, I like that it can be as simple as even the Immortelle, like if you just have that, or that yarrow palm. Oh yes, and blue tea. And I love the idea of the serum, because, if you are talking about a pregnant tummy, it's like, there's some acreage there, depending on how far along you are. Like that's a lot to do with a roller ball. You're like, okay. But being able to like rub it on and it'd be so soothing too, and comfortable on your belly. What a nice like way to feel special and take care of yourself. This was also something like my poor daughter, she's really getting thrown under the bus tonight, right? But my daughter, like myself, grew very tall, very young. And she's thin and, just like a tree. She has a lot of stretch marks on her legs, especially around her knees. And they really bug her, which makes me sad. But I'm like, honey, they're going to fade. You're just, she's so young. She's newly 11. And it's just, when you grow really fast. So, but this is all gentle enough for even a kid to use, and she'll be happy. I'll make her a little rollerball, and that'll make her happy to be able to do that. Put that on, you know. She is my scar prone kid though, so she's a little paranoid about oh, are these gonna turn into big scars, you know. She's prone to keloids, so I'm like, no, I don't think it's the same thing. Like, this wasn't like a wound, if you will, you know. So I guess we'll see. Anyway, so Susan found our Zendocrine bath recipe for helping with our detoxification from heavy metals. So what do we got?
I did. So it is 2 cups of Epsom salts, 1 cup of baking soda. I forgot that part.
Oh.
10 drops of Zendocrine. So less oil than I thought. I thought we used 20. Apparently we used 10. And mix it all together. Like, put your oils in the Epsom salt first, mix it all together so it's well incorporated, and then put the baking soda in and, you know, give it a good mix. Now, we used about 1 cup of this in a bath. But I think a lot of it depends on, you know, probably size of your tub. Are you going to use it in a tub versus, you know, you could use it in a foot bath if you want it, you know, if you're kind of limited. And like, I'm not a bath person. I don't like to get in the bath, but I can do a foot bath. That would be okay. So, and then 20-minute soak, and then, you know, rinse afterwards so that you don't carry Epsom salt and baking soda with you.
So you're not looking a little chalky afterwards?
Exactly right. Exactly.
And be like, look at all this cadmium coming out of my That's not what that is, guys. We're kidding. But yeah, you're looking like, what was that, Powder? Remember Powder or whatever, that scary movie with the, I don't know what that was. The powdery looking. All right, it's just me that remembers that. Nobody, I never saw it because it was too scary, but it was like a thing. People who know. Apparently I'm the only one here though, but that's okay. So that was fantastic. Thank you. And thank you so much, Diana, on the skin, because this it affects everyone, you know, regardless. And these same things can be used in general for scarring. They're also just for general scars. So, you know, we're talking stretch marks, but generally for just scars, this is going to work as well and be a really good support. It's all about skin and healing skin. That's, you know, that's what it's doing. So, or helping skin heal. So, with that though, I think we're there. I think we've answered all the questions for this week. So I hope it was helpful for you guys. Thank you so much to Miss Susan and Miss Diana. Their information will be listed for you to reach out to them if you have further questions or just would like to meet with them or chat with them online regarding your issues or topics. You'll be able to find them at their email addresses in the comment or in the notes section, wherever that is, down somewhere below, beside, underneath, wherever it appears. So thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your evening. This was a lot of fun.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.